All right, everyone, welcome to the podcast. I am joined here by Slick Benny B.
What
Benny,
is
how are
up?
we doing?
Doing good. How are you doing, JD Jackson?
Good, good. This is gonna be funny, but we were having some technical issues earlier, and this is third time's the charm, trying to get this rolling, and I think we are sitting pretty good. It's just funny how things like that work out, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, Benny, I have a question. The first question of many.
Okay.
How did you get started into music? Tell us a little bit about that so the audience can hear your backstory and get to know you a little better.
Yeah, so I think my first real start with music was probably when I was 8 years old. Um, my dad owned a classical guitar and he'd often serenade us to go to sleep. He'd just play whatever came to his mind. He's not like trained or anything. He just kind of picked up the guitar when he was younger. And he'd let me borrow that classical guitar a lot because I took a lot of interest in it. And I remember one time, I don't remember where, I think he got a thrift store. There was this like CD uh, guitar lesson package thing that he got for like $5.
Nice.
And he let me just kind of borrow his guitar and watch those like four CDs that they had in the little package. And that's how I kind of learned the guitar.
Okay, so you can play classical music on the guitar? Question mark.
Um, Not necessarily classical music. A lot of it was more of a like folk, like bluegrass DVD package lesson type deal, and so a lot of finger picking for sure. But um, I don't know any like Mozart or anything like that.
Okay, okay. No,
Yeah,
that's good to know because, like, I feel like if you're a classic guitar player, you're like a classic guitar player, right? Like a classical guitar player. You have the very specific guitar, you grow out your fingernails, like, and you're really good at that style of music, and you're not so good at other styles because it's a style of
that's
music that takes a lot of skill, you know.
yeah, and then I get totally what you mean. Like it's they people who are classically guitarists are often on a different realm as everyone else.
Yes, yes.
Different level.
It's like how some jazz guitarists, that's all they do, right? Like they're a jazz guitarist and they're really good at jazz, but then you try to throw them into some rock and roll or maybe even some pop, and they're just like not really sure how to play it, because to them it's just too dumbed down. I knew jazz guitarists that were like that. They just hated playing anything else. They love jazz. They're really good at it, but it'd be like, all right, now we're gonna throw together like some kind of cover song that we're gonna do for school or whatever, and they're just like, no, I don't want to do it. They just hated it, just dreaded it. So that's pretty cool though that your dad did that because it is a kind of a rare genre of music for a guitarist. I feel like.
Definitely, definitely. I think I'm very fortunate in that way.
Oh, for sure. So that's kind of how you got started. Now let's move into a question talking about what is your favorite thing to write about in music.
Oh, my favorite thing to write about. I gotta say, whatever I'm necessarily feeling at the moment. I think for the most part, what comes easily is the sad and uh, depressing part of life. I think writing about that comes pretty easily. I think that I definitely use it as a therapy, just to express my pain. So I guess what I like to write about is pain
Okay.
and and love, which I think are
Pain and
very
love.
very cliche things to write about, but it just comes natural, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I if you don't write about things that come naturally, I don't know, it just feels fake, to
Hmm.
me at least. And there's some really good guitar or not guitarists, but songwriters out there, arrangers, composers, and they can write about anything, but you can tell the ones that they have like the most personal like emotion with and like the things they've gone through because you can just feel it in the music, right? It's not. It's like, oh yeah, they could probably write some pretty catchy songs, or compositions, but the ones that are like feeling the music, right, when they compose it because you feel it too. It like gives you goosebumps.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's why I like to go to the open mics because there's some people that are just very in tune with the song that they wrote, and I think that's something special to witness. I think those are uh, some of the best musicians, honestly.
I agree. Yes, because I mean, there are some. You go to open mic and you're like, yeah, that's a pretty good song, and then you get someone that you're like, whoa, like you can feel they have their feelings out on their sleeve, and they're performing it with the emotion that they wrote it with, right? Because there are times when we write a song and we write it with emotion, but then when we perform it, we kind of like hide a little bit, in our shell, because we're like afraid of like how people would kind of perceive our true self on the stage. Um,
Definitely. But I
so
think with enough like connection and confidence in your own material, you can definitely work towards releasing that inner flower.
yes, yes, I agree. No, and I mean, I'm just as guilty of that as anyone else probably. Like, there's songs that I have a lot of emotion in, and I write it, and then sometimes when I perform it live, it's like I kind of trying to figure out how to completely display that, in a way that I feel comfortable. I mean, and it takes courage, it takes practice, and it takes just kind of not really caring. It's like, are you performing this song for you? Or are you performing it for these random people that you don't know how they're going to perceive it? It's like if you're performing it for yourself, then it's almost like that you're performing it to the best of your ability to other people, in my opinion. So,
No, I agree. I agree. I think there's a lot of people out there that are just chasing the clout.
oh, absolutely.
And I definitely see that in the open mics. I think that you can tell who is really in it for the lights and the fame and the shine and everything. And you can also tell who's in it because they are trying to put out a message that they personally feel.
Yes, yes. And there's,
Hmm.
I mean, there's something to be said. There's bands that are kind of like social cause bands, if you will, or um,
What do you mean by that?
well, meaning like they started the band with a reason, with a purpose, right? Of like, this is what we
Okay.
want to relay to society, a social cause, right? Whether it be fighting for women's rights, or fighting for people that are depressed, right? I know there's quite a few bands out there that fight for men's mental health, right? And they talk about that in the music, and the struggle they have with depression and suicidal tendencies. That's what I would call like a social cause band or an artist. Is they
Okay.
kind of go into it with the mindset of, there's this problem that society needs to be more aware of, so they're going to write a lot about it, right, and expose it through music, because I mean, humans are interesting creatures where we feel. I mean, lots of animals feel music, right? But like specifically us as humans, we and I said it really funny, like aliens are watching this, but you know,
You
we're very moved by
never know.
music. You never know. You
Mm.
never know. No, just the FBI and the CIA, right?
Yeah.
But we're very moved by music, and it's just an interesting phenomenon. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. You go on with it. I was just
No,
agreeing with
that
you.
was pretty much the end of my thought. But um,
Okay.
so kind of moving on to the next question. Um, what genre of music speaks to your soul? That's kind of what I was going into. That was like where music speaks to our souls, right? So, what
Okay.
speaks to Slick Benny B's soul?
What speaks to my soul? Funk and disco. That's
Funk and
uh
disco.
that's where it gets me, you know. If there's work to be done, a place to drive, funk and disco. It just keeps me motivated. I think it's what makes me cheer up when I'm not in a good mood. So something about them driving beats, they just go crazy.
Okay, okay. I get that. I mean, uh, and I respect that. My genre is like rock, like '90s rock specifically. I could be having a bad day, could listen to that. Also, kind of not related into the rock as much, but like John Mayer. Hold up some John Mayer. It's like
Okay.
you know,
What kind of John Mayer?
I
The
listen.
the
I
country John Mayer?
not so much the country John Mayer. I really like. I mean, one of the songs that not a lot of people are like super into, but I really like is "Vultures" by John Mayer. I don't know, that riff is just catchy, and then I really like
Mm.
"Neon." A lot of the Heartbreak ones too. Like I forget the album name, but it's like it's this like sad boy album, and he's like it has like a blue background. He's holding the guitar, and it has like a really
Oh,
sad
I know what
song.
you're talking about.
I don't think that's what it's called, but maybe it's something similar to that. I think it's maybe pretty close to that. But anyways, I really like
Mm.
that album. Um, and yeah, honestly, I'll listen to a lot of different John Mayer, like "Dear Marie." Oh, dear Marie, I really like this song. Um, but probably my favorite one is either "In Repair." It's talking about like repairing yourself, and then also "The Heart of Life." That one's kind of sad. It's just like, but it's like
Yeah.
there's like a silver lining to life. So whenever I'm having a really bad day, I'll turn on "The Heart of Life," and I don't know. It's like it like gets you in the feels, but it like helps you change your mindset too. At least for me. And I don't know. I like a lot of John Mayer stuff because I also really like his more jammy stuff, and um, it's just
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Welcome to the real world, she said to me,
oh yeah,
condescendingly. Yeah,
yep,
that's a good
yep.
song.
Oh yeah, that's a great song. That's a jam song in the car for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and
Road tripping.
road tripping. I also really like it's how's it go? I think it's called "No Such Thing." Um,
Oh yeah, I think that's the song that we were just singing.
no, no, that one, but I'm thinking of another one too. It's like who says I? It's like who says I can't get stoned? That's how it
Who
starts.
gets?
It
I think
in
that's the
my
same
house
song.
alone. I don't think so. No, no such thing. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm mixed. I listen to a lot of John Mayer, and I just have it in the background,
Yeah,
so I could be mixing it up.
I could
I'm
be
sure.
wrong too. I'm not like a John Mayer enthusiast or anything, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
that's yeah. I guess we'll see after this. If we're wrong, say it in the chat down below. But okay, so the next question I have is do you have a favorite performance story?
Favorite performance story, like in my life in general, or with Honey Sauce
Yeah, like if
specifically.
specifically as a musician, as a music artist, in your whole career as a musician, what is your if one memory you think back, you're like, no, you know what? That's where I like was one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
So okay, that makes me think of two actually.
Okay,
The
let's hear them
first
both.
one, the first one was when I was in high school. I had a friend who his family was all about him performing, and he actually started a band himself, and I was part of it. We were called Moody Pulp,
Moody,
and
nice.
yeah, and honestly, we I remember one summer, I think it was before our freshman year of high school. We were like middle school. We built a little riser because he had an unfinished basement. So the whole like flat family room downstairs in the basement was just cement. There was no bathroom down there at all.
Oh wow.
And so we built a little riser, which was our stage at the end of the room, and we held concerts there. So I think his parents like helped him buy some like Mackie speakers. They weren't very good, but like we had some speakers, we had our amps, and we had a microphone. And I remember he was kind of popular in school, and he was able to bring a lot of people to his house, and we had concerts there almost once a month, and we'd always pack it out. And he always encouraged me to like sing and do my own songs. And there was this one song specifically that was just kind of like a half-assed rap that we wrote. It was literally just the simplest chord progression, a lot of noise, a lot of crazy noises, and I would rap um, just nonsense like dog, fog, cat, hat, stuff like that. Like, and but the hook was everybody, 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 and we get everybody hyped up, and I'll say, repeat after me, American nationalism, American nationalism, and people went ham for that. People went crazy for American nationalism. I remember one of the performances that we did that we got like a small to medium sized flag, American flag, and we were able to pin it around my neck, and we sang American nationalism with a flag around my back. It was crazy. People went crazy for
Oh,
it.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be probably one of your favorite. Uh,
Well, definitely. Yeah, I think there's like a pic. There's a video of it on Instagram somewhere of me just going American nationalism.
Now on your Instagram or your buddies?
No, I think it's either on Moody Pope or one of the band members' Instagram. I can't remember.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, so people can go find it
yeah,
potentially.
definitely. Potentially, I guess. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Nice. No,
yeah.
that's fun. Yeah, that's it's always fun to like hear people's stories, you know, and I'm sure I ask you in 5 years from now, I'll ask you the same question. Maybe that will have changed by now, you know. Who knows what you would have
Oh,
done by then, right?
definitely, definitely. We hope to do bigger things than just American nationalism. We're gonna go Europe nationalism. Shee!
Right?
Yes, that was
Soon
kind of lame.
enough.
I'm sorry.
Well, hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so the next question. What is your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be music related. If you want it to be, it can. But what is your biggest
Hmm.
inspiration? So maybe take a second. I'm gonna sip my hot chocolate.
Okay, you do that. I'm gonna think. Oh man, I. Mm,
I'm putting you on the
okay,
spot.
I think my biggest inspiration. It's got to be. It's got to be music. I know that's it's funny, but like honestly, like there's a song for everything, and I think if you find it, you can really make life special. I think I have enjoyed life when there's a soundtrack behind it. I think it goes back to the first question with my parents. We start every day. My parents used to have one of those like vinyl record players that was a whole piece of furniture,
Yeah.
and we weren't allowed to touch it. Only the parents could start a record, and my stepmom, she'd always play "Good Day Sunshine" by the Beatles, and that'd
Mm,
be like our alarms clock. That would be like, all right, it's time to wake up. And if you weren't up by the time the song was over, you were gonna be late, kind of thing. And so that kind of trained me to just have music help me get through things, I guess. And
yeah.
I think when I'm looking at something, I can hear music, even if there's no music playing, and I feel inspired. It's crazy. It's like the movie Soul, where when he plays music, he literally goes somewhere else. That's how music is, just in general. I
Yeah,
think
no,
they
I
can.
like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, uh, I like you said earlier, I think life would be way different without music. Like it would be depressing. That's for sure. It'd be. I feel like we're a good representation. I think would be like we wouldn't be seeing colors, right? It'd almost be like we're just like life would be black and white, almost like a grayscale, right? We're just doing our thing, the 9 to 5 grind. Nothing to inspire us from music. Like, and I mean, music is frequencies, right? And frequencies is a universal language. So it'd almost be. It's like how could the universe exist without it? I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't think it's really possible. So okay, no, that was a great answer. This one's gonna make you think too.
Okay.
What is your biggest fear?
My
Oh,
biggest fear.
yeah, I'm getting you on the spot. I'm asking you the hard
Okay.
questions tonight.
Yeah, you are. I can go very simple, or I can go very in depth.
Yeah, it's up to
Uh,
you.
I'm afraid of heights. I hate heights. Like if it's in a ski lift or I don't know, you're in an airplane, I don't mind as much because I feel safe. But if I was on a ladder or trying to tightrope across two buildings, nah. I I think I'd chicken out. I wouldn't be able to do it mentally, and so I would fall.
Okay.
So that's my biggest fear, heights. Um, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna answer with.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you. I'm afraid of heights too. I call it a reasonable fear of heights, meaning I start to get a little like I start to lose my balance a little bit and get a little uneasy when it's high enough that I know it could kill me, right? If I'm like
Definitely.
just working on stuff and I'm like, I'd get hurt, but I'd probably be okay. Like, I don't get too scared, but like, like I like roller coasters. At least I used to. It's been a while since I've been on one. And
Hmm.
but like even if if I'm up on a roof, and I know I'm gonna fall and die, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm a little nervous. Like it's not that I like wouldn't be able to function, but um, yeah. And then sometimes when when I'm in a plane and stuff, I'm not scared, but there's always like that thought in my head. I'm like, well, if we're going down and it's not a controlled landing, if you will, um, we're probably dead. So it's one of those things, and uh, I've wanted to talk myself into to skydive at some point, but I also think I'd pass out.
Yeah.
I think I would literally be like, and you're usually strapped to someone for the first, however couple
Yeah.
times you go, and
See,
but I no, you
even
go ahead.
even skydiving, I feel like I would feel secure because there's somebody behind you.
Yeah,
But yeah, ladders in general, they scare me.
ladder scare. That's your
Yeah,
kryptonite, right?
yeah, ladders. Don't get me on a ladder because I won't know how to get back down.
That's funny. Okay, so now that we asked that question, now that it's gonna be similar but different. What is your biggest fear as a music artist,
My
like in your
biggest
music career?
fear. Oh, this one's kind of difficult. I think finding balance. Um, I feel like as a musician, it gives you a lot of freedom to do what you want, but also not necessarily telling you where to go. And so I find myself getting distracted often just with life and how mundane it can be, and realize that I'm falling behind on my music career, or it's the other way where I'm just focusing so much on the music career that I'm forgetting the mundane things in life and forgetting relationships and connections with people. So balance is what scares me the most because it's quite overwhelming. Because at this time, right now, I'm not a full time musician. So I'll go to work and then come home and still work. And it's difficult to not work, but also not feel like you're being spread so thin that it's going to collapse at any moment.
Yeah, no, that's understandable fear. Um, Balance is a hard thing to find in life. I feel like for anyone, right? Um,
Mm,
and it's a very fine line, right, between people that like get just immerse themselves completely into one thing, and then like like you said, relationships could fall through. And I don't think it's surprising that a lot of musicians have a lot of problems with relationships, right? Romantic relationships
oh, yeah.
specifically. Usually they're pretty good at having friends and like being like a people person, but when it comes to like those really intimate relationships, I feel like there's a lot of music artists that like just really struggle with that. Actors and actresses are the same. I feel like because they dedicate themselves so much to their craft that they sometimes forget. Oh wait, how is it to be normal and to balance myself from my job or my passion and also realistically think about other people and what their needs are and like how am I communicating with them, I think that's it's a hard line to find for a lot of artists and a lot of people in general.
No, I agree. I think I was talking to a buddy of mine who just came back from like a 4 month tour, and he said that he's going to be taking a break for the rest of the year just because he wants to be able to buy groceries and laundry, like the mundane things, because he feels like he's been living on a different planet. And so it's just interesting how relatable that feels, and it's a little daunting to know that that might just be something that musicians have to deal with. In fact, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think we're very blessed to live in the day and age that we live in, though, with technology as advanced as it is, social media that's a game changer, right? Like, a lot of artists that are up and coming or have made a following for themselves. They didn't even perform really. Like they're mostly just doing social media, and they'd make a music video, and eventually on TikTok one would take off, or on YouTube, or on Instagram. It's just and then people start using their song for different like short videos, whatever, and then it's a game changer. Now they're making money, and now they can go do their craft and not have to scrap by as much, and it's like
yeah,
they hustled in a different way than some people have, or some people do even today, because there's lots of artists that still they'll play so many shows and like slowly build up an audience, and a following, and just play the open mic nights, build that networking and stuff, and eventually over years and years, then they get to the point where they're all right. Now I'm in LA. Now I'm gonna go to Florida. Now I'm gonna go to Washington. Now I'm gonna come back to Utah. Um, but for some people it takes 5 years, 10 years, a lifetime. Others, they because of social media and other things, they had overnight success almost, right? At least that's what it seems like, even if you don't see all behind the scenes. And
yeah.
it's changed the game quite a bit.
No, I agree. I think for the most part, people don't pay for their music anymore. So if you were to really be making music off of streams, you you essentially have made it in a sense. Whether how long, it doesn't necessarily foretell how long you're going to be successful, but it's easier to get that rise of fame, but it's also easier for it to just disappear out of nowhere. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say sometimes that 15 minutes of fame just gets enough eyes on you that it helps build that following, and then you can continue to do it, right? But you can't depend on
Definitely.
that happening. You know, some people, they have that 15 minutes of fame. They're like, oh, it's going to be like this for a while, and then it dies. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I didn't really have a backup plan. I was a one hit wonder because of that. And not that there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. It's just like you gotta plan for what you want, right? If you want to be a long time or long term musician, an artist, and make your whole living from that, got to plan accordingly. It's like any business. I mean, I would say musicians and music artists, they're like one of the best definitions of like an entrepreneur, right? As it's basically you're starting your own business. You are the business. Your music and your creation is the business, and you got to grind hard to get it going and off the ground. And then when you get to a point where people all love you and support you, then you can start selling merch. You can, people are listening to your stuff enough that you're getting royalties and, getting streaming revenues coming in that then you can be a little more creative. You can put a little bit more money and time into your craft.
yeah, definitely. I think that's. I mean, like, I'm very thankful I'm not at that point where people are just, oh, I love this one song. I'm glad I haven't hit my big break yet because I like being able to take my time with it. I've been building a lot. The behind the scenes stuff, like booking, promoting, creating websites, it all takes time, and I, I I would feel overwhelmed if I were to get my rise in fame tomorrow and feel like I'd have to catch up because that's how I'd feel. I feel like it would be a window of opportunity to do something. And I don't know if you've been look staying on TikTok but I've seen that the Hawk Tuah girl, she's
No,
got like
yes.
she's got like a manager. She's like going to UFC fights to like be filmed and see her reaction. Like, nope. It's crazy that she got famous from that, but all I can see is that she's taking the best of her opportunity that was given to her, and she's got like merch. Like I, fortunately for her, it happened. I do think she doesn't necessarily want to be seen as the Hawk Tuah girl, but sometimes when you live in a capitalistic society, like you got to capitalize on that.
No, well, for sure. I mean, you can look at it a couple ways. She could have just had her 15 minutes of fame, like we were talking about before, and just kind of laughed about it, enjoyed that little bit of time, and not tried to capitalize on selling the merch or getting a percentage of whoever these other people that are making it, and like putting herself out there for music, right? She could have not done that, and then once that wave was over, she would have been probably like forgotten about, right? And not been able to make something of herself and make money, right? So she jumped on an opportunity, exactly right. Like, and
Yeah,
she's not the
and it's
first,
not
she's not gonna be the last.
exactly I'm just glad I haven't hit my 15 minutes of fame because I would feel rushed to make my whole new identity with for whatever it is. Right now, I can take my time and really develop what I want honey sauce to be. And I don't know. I'm not in a rush. I'm having fun with it.
Good. I mean, honestly, the biggest reason you should ever be doing it is for yourself, right? So, and people, they just join your family along the way. That's the
Exactly.
idea. And you mentioned your band Honey Sauce. So for those of you who don't know, Slick Benny B is a solo artist, but he also that's his solo artist name, and he has music released. So on Spotify and Apple Music, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, SoundCloud, everywhere.
everywhere. So is it spelled just how it is right here?
Yeah, SlickBennyB, just one word. And then honey sauce is one word too.
Yeah. So Benny is a a renaissance man when it comes to the music world, right? So he does a little bit of it all. So he's a solo artist, and then his band Honey Sauce is a newer endeavor of his that is it's pretty fun. I've seen them two or three. Was it three times now? Two or three times live? I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
think you have been there 3 times. Yeah,
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 so they're pretty good. So if you guys are looking for a new band to watch and to see live, they perform throughout Utah right now. I'm sure eventually they're gonna break out into other states. So if you are Utah local or you're in town, make sure to hit up their Instagram to see when they're playing next. But um, with those endeavors that you have, which one are you the most excited about right now?
Which one am I most excited about right now? First of all, thank you for being so kind in my little bio. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I think what I'm most excited right now is Honey Sauce. Every performance we've had has been better than the last one, and people seem to enjoy it. I remember the bassist of my band, he had a family member come up to him and say, this is the best project you've been in. And it's really easy listening music. And you know what? I'll take it. I think that's a good sound, like a good description for Honey Sauce. Just easy, smooth, and sweet and sticky.
Yeah, no, that's it's a good description, and I think what we'll have to do is get the band on, do a band interview with everyone, with
I totally
whether
agree.
it's just a broken down version of the band or if it's the whole five members that I'll leave that up to you to decide since you're kind of like the band leader,
Yeah.
um,
No, I
and
think we should get the whole band. They all
yeah,
talk.
why not, right? Why not?
Yeah. Nobody's
Yeah,
shy.
I mean, I think, yeah, I know all the guys in your band pretty well. I
Yep.
knew them before you
Hmm.
knew them, I
Yep,
think.
you knew that. That's
um,
true. That's very true.
so yeah, they're all great guys. Okay, well, let's keep moving on with the questions. This has been fun. Um,
Yeah, definitely. This has been fun.
this is actually my first time recording an episode of the podcast this way, and I don't know. It's pretty cool. I definitely don't have a setup like I used to have, so this is gonna probably be the way I do for a little while. And it's cool that you can just be sitting in your room, you're in your apartment, just chatting. It makes it very easy to like just add people in and stuff. And I think at some point, gotta do a live version of this. I think that'd be cool.
Oh, dang. I would love that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
So maybe we'll consider doing that with the full band. Something to think about, right?
Yep.
Um, All right. So we asked what your biggest fear was. This one we kind of been talking about. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now in a musical sense?
Where do I see myself? Definitely have a pretty decent catalog when it comes to music. Um, I'd hope I'd have at least an album out, 12 songs minimum. And I feel like we're just barely catching steam. So I'm not too worried, but I think I would love to have a lot more video, that's for sure. One of the hardest things right now is finding video content to post. We tend to record all our live shows and all our rehearsals, but I also want to have video of us being candid and having fun. And that's tough because everybody has their own schedules, and most of us are in other different projects as well. So I would hope by in 5 years we'd have more video content, more music, definitely being able to supply merch for our fans, have a grow our hive, like that's the ultimate goal. I don't necessarily see myself getting that 15 minutes of fame. So I think it's going to be a slow and gradual. And by the time we're at the top, it's because we had worked for it, you know? So, you know, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's something to be said to just being a part of the community for a while. I think people will eventually just appreciate that. You know, I would say it's. I think you're gonna basically respect what you have more when you do that. I mean, how many stories do we hear about some billionaire's kid or whatever just spending all this money, not giving a crap about anything, kind of just like being, not really being successful at all on their own. Like they're just taking for advantage of it, right? Or have make all this money from their parents to go to school, and they just like don't even end up getting good grades. They don't really go to class. When I was in college, I knew a lot of kids like that. They just did not care, and because they weren't paying for it, I cared because I was paying out of my own pocket to go to college, right?
Yeah,
And so like there were times it was hard, but like at the end of the day, I was like, well, I'm paying for this. I want to do this, and I'm gonna make the most of it. And for me, at least, and not that everyone has to go to college or anything like that. For me, I wanted to because I love studying, and I told myself you gotta get at least a bachelor's degree in something, right? But
mm,
everyone's journey is different, right? That was how I started to get like involved in the music scene because I wasn't really involved too much like in the high school age and stuff. Like I had a guitar and I wrote some songs and stuff, and I would go to a couple, I'd go to some live shows in Logan, Utah. I'd go to like Y Sound, and
mm.
but I wasn't like super immersed into the scene, right? And so when I went to college, studied music, I got to get really into that scene. And so however that works for you, and you've been, going and playing at many different venues from a young age. You're a part of the culture and the scene that as long as you continue to do that, yeah, like you said, you might not get your 15 minutes of fame, but there's something to be said for hard work and working your butt off and just enjoying what you do. Because at the end of the day, as long as you enjoy what you do, even if you aren't rich, even if you're not super famous, you have contributed to society, right? Your music's out there
Definitely.
and make people move and feel a certain way. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, got to give back to the community because I don't know. I like going to places, to venues, and being like to open mics and already building a community there and being able to recognize people. I think that's when I'm most comfortable when I already know who you are and we've already had some sort of interaction. I think that's a great feeling to have. Just friends in general.
Yeah, no, I agree. The way I put it is like growing up, I didn't like I had like a close circle of friends, and I got along with
Mm,
lots of different types of people, but I didn't really feel like I found my family like as like of other people, and unless I was like at open mic nights or in the music scene with other musicians that also like love to write music, play music. I don't know. Like I know a lot of people that I went to school with and just have met over the years. They feel like kind of like almost like family a little bit, just the
mm.
relationship I have with them. And I know when I see them post how well they're doing. I went to school with a lot of people that are doing really good right now, like with their musical career. A couple different artists and bands that are just they're killing it. They're traveling throughout the United States, and it's like I don't have any jealousy. I'm just like happy for them because I'm just like they're like part good friends and family that even though I haven't really maybe seen some of them in a little bit, you just wish the best for them. And I love that how most of the time that is the culture you find is just like that loving community and the music culture.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I love that. Just I think that's why we really relate or feel the name honey sauce because it makes it you and the audience, everybody part of the hive. And I think that's the point to bring people together. I think I don't know. I enjoy doing that for people.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell. I can tell. Well, Benny, We could probably talk for a lot longer, but I think this has been a good discussion. And like I said, we'll have to have the band on, so let's schedule something and let's get the boys on here and talk about some honey
Definitely.
sauce plans because yeah, I love those guys. But yeah, is there before we close, is there anything else that you want people to know about Slick Benny B?
Yeah, you guys should go follow my band's Instagram account at Honey Sauce SLC and listen to our music that's out on all streaming platforms. Our first single ever released, it's called Seems as Though. Go check it out. Let us know what you think. Comment.
Sweet. Yeah, it's a good song. I've heard it. So you guys should
Thank
definitely
you.
listen to it. Get some more streams for it going. But with that, Benny, it's been a pleasure and yeah, let's schedule some of the band and yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, JD Jackson.